Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today we are here once again on the Ponytown community subreddit. This is the unofficial subreddit, but it may as well be official because it's technically more or less the only one, or at least the main one. But today we're on this Ponytown community subreddit because we're going to be talking about Ponytown ideas. Specifically, your Ponytown ideas, the ideas that you shared on the subreddit. If you don't know, you can go in the subreddit yourself. There's an idea tag. You can filter the entire subreddit by ideas, and then you can go through this list of ideas yourself. There is a lot of them on here. There is so many on them, but we're not going to go through all of them. We're just going to go over a handful here today. So let's go ahead and start with this first one here, which says a tier or an in-app purchase only for those interested in more map slots and item limit on the Pony Island. Imagine it costs like $4 or €4. I don't know what that is, so we're just gonna say $4. $4 without the extra pony, etc., but like 3,200 item limit and 8 map slots or something. I think that could be an interesting idea, but at the same time, I don't see that happening because part of the reason the limit is there is because of server space or server memory and things like that. These limits will eventually increase as Ponytown grows bigger and it kind of needs a bigger limit or is okay or ready enough to be able to withstand those limits and stuff like that. Being able to also just outright buy that is kind of a weird thing. I don't know how to feel about it exactly. It's not too different from just the Patreon thing, but it's also really weird and iffy, and I don't know how to feel about it, and I don't know how the developers might feel about that, but I don't think we're ever going to see anything like in-app purchases and things like that, so I really don't think this will ever happen. And I kind of hope it never happens, to be honest with you. But anyway, this next one is a simple one. I feel like more things should be added to the game, such as a dash button and a magic button to pick things up. Now, this is actually really interesting, and I kind of would like this idea, actually. I would actually like to be able to dash in the game. There is, like, the slight sneaky walk thing, and then, of course, there is the regular walk without holding shift or anything like that. But there's no dash button. You can't run. There's no, like, speed boost in this game or anything like that. There is on the event server. You can press K to toggle your extra speed on and stuff like that. But I think something interesting would be like you press a button and it just makes you fast for like 2.5 seconds or something like that. I think that could be interesting because then that would be more of a dash button. I don't really know how much that would serve a use. When it comes to the magic thing as well, I don't know how useful that would be or if that will ever be implemented. I would kind of hope something like that's implemented, but at the same time, it feels like that would probably never make it to the game just because of how complex that can be. And I know it sounds like a very simple ask, but there is so much that goes into something as simple as that. So let's move on to this next one. Our next one here basically says that they've been playing the game since 2016, and they're glad that they're seeing progress with the town and everything like that, but there's a few things that they really want to see, and now that bulky updates are getting pumped out, let's talk about skins, transparent body parts. This would be extremely helpful for those who want to create certain hairstyles or body parts removed. Of course, have it limited so not everything can be transparent. Thank you so much for adding the fact that not everything can be transparent, because this is something that everyone always just doesn't ask for. They're like, oh, let's get transparent body parts. I want to be everything invisible except my head or something like that, so I can be like a floating head, or like I want to make all my legs invisible so I can be a floating bean. Like, I've seen so many people ask for shit like that, and honestly I think that's such a bad idea because there's so much that can go wrong with that. But having it to where we can, say, for example, toggle a single leg or something like that, like, oh, our front left leg is gone now, I think something like that could be very useful in terms of representation for people with disabilities and things like that, but also very useful for people that just want to create better, more interesting OCs and stuff. Yeah, I don't really know how much that would actually help with hairstyles and stuff like that, but I think specifically just allow us to like remove the ears, for example. A lot of people have wanted the ability to just like remove the ears completely and toggle those off if we want to. I mean, we could be bald, why not remove the ears too? I think that would be a weird thing, but having something like you can't have ears if you toggle that off or something. You know, having at least one leg be gone if you want that to be the case or something like that. Stuff like that could be helpful, but I don't know specifically about just like, hey, you can make this specific part transparent, and then you can also make this other part transparent and combined with that. You have to make it extremely limited, and there's so much that goes into that, like to balance that out, to make it not horrible looking. So I'm glad that you said keep it limited because it has to be limited, but I still don't really see it ever happening because of how complex it would be to limit that and limit it in the right way. The next thing they said is chest fluff and bulk. They did technically add some fluff in the game recently, so I guess they want this to be more fluffy, I guess. I don't know. So waist, accessories, and others, we already have like the pony doll, the sword, the saddle, the side bag, all that stuff, but we don't have that many things. We don't have floating accessories, so that's kind of something that they're kind of asking for, is floating accessories or toys that aren't holiday based. Now we do have some toys that aren't holiday based. For example, we had the Fez plushie and the offline plushie in the last holiday event. I guess it's not really a holiday event, but in the 5-year anniversary, they gave us those and stuff like that. So they have a few. There's obviously some animals and stuff like that that technically aren't holiday based, but I think more toys would be interesting. And I think Ponytown should do this, where if you make a character and you go to the other tab and you actually include the pony plush on your head or one of these toys, like you can choose any toy while in that menu or something, and then you spawn in it with the game, but you can also still drop it and swap it out with other toys. I think that'd be extremely helpful in terms of, how do I get that pony plush on my head? But also, we do need more waist accessories and things like that. For example, why not allow us to carry like a bow or something like that? I mean, we can already carry this big sword around with us. Why not something like a bow or a shield or some other thing? I don't know. But having other accessories on the waist and things like that would be very, very useful. Genuinely would have Ponytown feel less stiff, so they think the game feels a little bit stiff. They want the dancing animations, all that stuff, fast trotting, a curled up pose, which would be interesting actually. Now that you mention it, like almost like a sleeping pose or something, would actually be pretty interesting. Then they talk about household items like bathrooms. We do need like. I do kind of agree that we kind of need a bathroom update or something to that effect, because we have sinks, but the sinks that we have aren't the greatest because they can't be used in a lot of scenarios and stuff like that. We also don't have a vertical one, by the way. A bathtub would be useful, a toilet would be useful, stuff like that would be very useful. There's lots of items for living rooms and bedrooms and stuff like that for like the kitchen and everything, but there's literally nothing for the bathroom. Even a mirror would be really cool. I think if they somehow managed to make a mirror work in Ponytown, I would absolutely love that. And then of course they asked for weather and stuff like that. They'd like it to work like seasons, to be, you know, controllable on your party island, so you could do like slash weather rain or something. I think that could be useful and helpful. It's something a lot of people have asked for. Statuses and tags, we already have that kind of to some degree, but we don't have like customizable ones. But they want like stuff with DNI in their name to be have a status or a tag, and technically we do. It's the do not disturb thing. If you go into your thing at the top right corner, it's probably a green bubble. You can click that, and then you can scroll down, and it is a little red bubble, and it says do not interact. That means do not interact with this player. That means do not disturb this player. That's what that means. So they already have a tag, but almost none of them use it. They want something associated with regiments, for example, so like you can have like a clan tag almost, perhaps, things like that. I can display the user's name when you click on them and it shows in the top left corner. Maybe have a 20 character limit or something like that. I don't know about a 20 character limit, maybe like a 4 character limit or something like that. That way it's more in tune with an actual clan tag or something. But yeah, I agree with a lot of these, and a lot of them still need tweaking. But let's move on to some more. These here were by the Blackened Crow. But let's move on to some more, because we have another one here. This player wants to be able to hold these drinks without the plate. Kind of some complicated issues with that, because you can't hold it by the straw, because that makes no sense. You can't hold it by the side, because that makes no sense. You can't really hold it by the rim there, because that also doesn't make very much sense, and it looks really weird. So there's no real way to hold that drink without the plate, because it looks extremely weird regardless of how you do it, and it will not work out. But here we go. Here's another one with a list of ideas. I guess I've already seen this one because I've upvoted it, but they've asked for the following: prosthetic legs. I still think prosthetic legs would be awesome. Like I mentioned earlier, the other person also mentioned this, obviously, because this is your ideas and stuff like that. Having at least one limb be transparent or invisible or just not there for diversity's sake would be really interesting, and so much could come out of that. But also, if you could just have any leg be a prosthetic leg, would be really cool. More body types. I don't necessarily think that's the greatest idea ever. Hearing aids. I don't even know what you mean by that, because hearing aids usually are impossible to see. Well, not impossible to see, but they're usually really difficult to see. So you can literally just put something like one of the earrings on your ear and then boom, just call that an hearing aid or something. Wheelchairs, I mean, wheelchair doesn't really make that much sense, I guess. It would look really weird. In my opinion, I think it would look really weird because it's a horse. So I think a horse in a wheelchair would look extremely weird. So I don't think that one would be very great. But the prosthetic leg one, I'm with you on that one. So let's move on to this last one here. Here's our last one here. They're asking for ideas for PT areas. Ideas for PT areas. So they have an idea for PT areas since the new shopping center was updated. More of a marketplace, but I'll let that slide. I think the map updates tend to be the best for the game. As the instance of the new shopping area was added, more people played the game. So here's a list of areas that I think they should add. A spooky forest. We technically already have a forest. It's not necessarily spooky, but we do have a forest. However, during Halloween events, they do add spooky faces on them and stuff like that. So I take it that way you will. I don't really know how much this other stuff, like adding spooky critters and stuff like that, would be helpful for that or anything. I don't really know what to think of that. But then they ask for a castle. They say that's pretty self-explanatory. They think a pretty little castle somewhere would be great, especially if it had NPCs such as Queen Celestia. We're not getting that. Trust me, we're not getting any kind of NPC, especially something like Celestia. That's not happening, trust me. They suspect it would be a long time for the developers to make a castle. So this is a maybe. Kind of interesting that you word it that way. Library tree from MLP. This person is just asking for like everything from the show, it feels like. Ponytown can't just like take stuff from the show and just like boom, there you go, there's that tree from that show. They can't just do that because there's all kinds of copyright stuff with that, right? And if they start doing stuff like that, they can get in trouble, and then Ponytown would end up getting shut down. So they can't just copy stuff from the actual show. It can be inspired by the show, and they can do something similar like a tree library, but it can't just be the library tree from the MLP series. You got to make it completely different. Then they asked for an apple orchard farm, orchid farm. I don't, that word always trips me up. They think it'd be cool for an agricultural update to the game. I still think that we could get a really cool farm update. There is that top right corner with the carrot farm and that ugly looking pumpkin farm. I think they could completely just bulldoze that whole area, so to speak, reorganize it, add like the carrot farm, the pumpkin farm, and then all these other vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. Just put it all in that area, have them be seasonal, even like during the autumn, they farm this because that's what they do in real life or something. Or during winter, this is what they're farming because that's what they do in real life or something weird like that, right? I think that could be an interesting idea, and a little farm in that top right corner would be perfect, especially if they added something like a barn. I think it'd be perfect. But here's their bonus idea: placeable NPC animals such as chickens or pets, more placeable plushies, more belt items, and maybe even an option to carry items you have with your horn magic. That's the second time that we've seen that in this video. That's crazy to think about. Yeah, these ideas, this last bonus ideas, like a lot of these last ideas here, these bonus ideas are actually really interesting. Being able to place animals on our party island would be interesting, but I don't know how well that would work out. More placeable plushies. I feel like it would be an awesome idea if like every plushie that you unlock, you can also place on your island or something like that. I think that could be really cool. More belt items. I'm assuming they're talking about like the waist accessories, sort of how that other person was talking about. And yeah, I agree. We need more waist accessories. And then they again add the horn magic thing, and I already gave my thoughts on that. So yeah, that's your Ponytown ideas. If you guys want me to go over more Ponytown ideas here on the subreddit, let me know in the comments below. Here's a really lovely one. Look at this. Look at this. I would love this so much. This would be one of my favorite things ever. But yeah, let me know. Oh, look at these. Look at this. Look at this tail. That's lovely. And this horn. This horn is crazy. There's so many good ideas here on the Ponytown subreddit. You guys go up here on the subreddit, post some stuff on here, and I would love... Can we have a cleaning emote where the character just cleans himself like a cat? I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that one. But yeah, there's all kinds of interesting ideas here. I would love to see your ideas here. So go ahead and post them on the Ponytown subreddit whenever you get the chance, and I will filter this again by ideas in the future, maybe a couple of weeks or something like that. And we'll do another video. This is the third time I'm doing this, and I really love doing this. I love seeing your ideas and talking about them and discussing them and everything like that. So leave them down in the comments below, but specifically put it on the Ponytown subreddit, because if you put it on the Ponytown subreddit, I'm more likely to see it. I'm more likely to make a video about it. I'm obviously going to see it if you put it in the comments below, but I'm not likely to make a video about your idea there. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that, because when you do those wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful for yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.